Good afternoon, fourth grade. We're going to continue reading chapter 4 today in Red Pyramid. Before we get started, we're going to do this fill-in-the-blank summary of chapter 3. Pick up your pencil and get ready to fill in the blanks as I read out loud. Zia took Carter and Sadie to the Hall of Ages in Egypt. They all learned about Egypt's history while walking down the hall. They met the chief lector, and he decided to keep them there and test their magical abilities. During the test, Sadie released a she lion. Pretty sure it's a she lion. Let's see. Let's go back. She released a she. Yes. She released a she lion because Zia accused her of hosting a god. Turns out that Zia was right. Zia let Carter and Sadie go, but the new chief lector wants them dead. Sadie and Carter were able to transport to Washington, D.C. to get closer to Set and destroy him. So press pause to write down your answers. You can also rewind and go back and re-listen if there are some blanks that you didn't get. But we're going to start on this page, the beginning of chapter 4. Our focus question today is, how have Sadie and Carter changed since chapter 4? Before we get started, there are 3 words we want to look at. The first one is evasion. That's an escape, like to escape something. And that can be, you can evade even an answer to a question if you don't answer it directly. So that's more than one meaning. But this is evasion, the robbers escaping the police officer. The second one is embody, and that's when you like become someone else. You take this idea or this feeling and you become that. And so this is an actor trying to embody his character. And then the last one is willpower. That's when it's a synonym for self-control. So this little boy is trying to use his willpower to resist the cupcake and eat the apple instead. All right, so we're going to start reading at the beginning of chapter 4, and we're going to use our CSPS strategy. And right now, we're just focused on Sadie, okay? And then when we get to the whole group, we're going to focus on Sadie and Carter. But right now, we just want you focused on Sadie, okay? So we're at chapter 4. They are inside the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C. You got us to America, all right. Okay, and now we know these white letters, that means the setting. So get ready to write down where they are in box 2A. It's December 26th in Washington, D.C., 6 hours till sundown and the demon days begin. So for 2A, you need to say Sadie is in the Washington Monument on December 26th, 6 hours before sundown when the demon days begin. And you can write this quote in 2B. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the character. And so we need to think about Sadie. And so if we're looking back to chapter 3, we know when Sadie and Carter were with Zia, she realized that they were hosting gods. And because they were hosting gods, the chief lector wants them killed. okay? And so we could write that down for the character. Sadie, because Sadie is hosting a god, the chief lector wants her killed. So she and Carter escaped through a portal to Washington, D.C. And you could choose a quote from this page to support your answer. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the problem. We're going to keep reading at the top of page 85. Carter and Sadie are having a conversation. Carter, something followed us into the portal. You think it was a sphinx? It looks more like a muffin. Best! Miss me? Excellent work with the portal, Sadie. You must not have specified an American city when you made your portal. We got the default portal for the U.S., the biggest obelisk ever constructed, the Washington Monument. It would be wise to rest now, Sadie. Opening more than one portal a day can be taxing. But we need her to do it again, right? It's not sunset here yet. We can still use the portals. Let's open one to Arizona. We'll have to find another way to set. I don't have that talent. And you, Carter, well, your abilities lie elsewhere. No offense. Besides, we can't open a new portal from the same location for another 12 hours. Right, I forgot about the cooldown period. Turn the page. Remember, we're still looking for Sadie's problem. We thought you were dead. I held Cirquette off as long as I could, saving just enough energy to revert to Muffin's form and slip into the Duat. But I thought you weren't good at portals. I'm not, but as a creature of the Duat, slipping into one of its shallowest layers for a quick escape is relatively easy. By the time I got to the museum, the magicians had already captured you. Bast, it was terrible. They think we're hosting gods. Yes, you are godlings, dear. It must have happened at the museum. Wearing their symbols, you practically invited their power. Their symbols? Your amulets. Carter's is the Eye of Horus. Your, Sadie, is the magic knot called the Tayet, often referred to as the knot of Isis. In the Hall of Ages, I saw an image of Isis, and then I was Isis, trying to get away from Set, and oh God, that's it, isn't it? I'm her. I thought about the myths I knew, how Horus, the son of Osiris, had to avenge his father by defeating Set. And at Luxor, I summoned an avatar with the head of a falcon, the symbol of Horus. I was afraid to try it, but... Hello, Carter. Horus? Ah! I've been possessed! Please, Carter, it's not possession. As host, you are still quite human. So when I activated the obelisk at Luxor, was that Isis or me? Both, dear. As blood of the pharaohs, you and Carter have great abilities on your own, but the power of the gods have given you an extra reservoir to draw on. It has also hastened your development. What would have taken you years to learn, you've accomplished in days. Top of the next page. But it's also way more dangerous. The magicians want to kill us now. Yes, and if you think you can survive what's coming without the power of the gods, think again. Don't repeat your mother's... Our mother's what? It's nothing. Tell us, Cat, your mother's mistake. In freeing me from Cleopatra's Needle, your father unleashed more energy than expected. The blast would have killed him had your mother not shielded him. I offered to merge my spirit with hers to aid her, but she would not allow it. I wasn't alone in the obelisk. I was trapped there with a creature of chaos. Your mother sacrificed her life, literally burned out, to seal my enemy inside and to save your father. All right, so... to stop Set, we can either completely give ourselves over to the gods or burn up. Great. Rest, dear. For now we're safe from the House of Life at least. I'm going to scout out the perimeter for threats. We never know what Set might send after us. We need to come up with a plan. Why don't you sleep on it? You used a lot of energy today. I'll keep watching till Bass gets back. Didn't want to miss anything, but I realized my eyelids were incredibly heavy. All right, then. Okay, and so when we're thinking about Carter and Sadie's problem, we know that they are hosting gods, and in order to defeat Set, they're either going to need to join powers with their gods, or Bass is saying they could burn up. And that's their problem. Do they give up themselves as humans over to the gods, or are they going to burn up? So write that down for 3A. And then the quote you can use is Sadie's quote at the bottom of this page for 3B. And they are going to solve their problem by resting. Sadie is going to go to sleep, and she's going to have this dream. All right? So Sadie is going to solve her problem by resting. But we're going to keep reading because, yeah, you can write that down right now. I'm going to keep reading. If you have time, you can write down how Nut helps Sadie solve her problem. So we're at the top of this page. I lay down to sleep, but my soul, my Ba, had other ideas. Carter had explained how his Ba had left his body while he slept, but having it happen to me was another thing altogether. It might have been fine for Carter to go about as a glowing turkey, but I have standards. So Sadie, again, changes from a bird into her human form because she doesn't like being a bird. I concentrated hard, imagining my normal appearance, well, perhaps my appearance as I'd like it to be. And voila, my Ba morphed into human form, still see-through and glowing, mind you, but more like a proper ghost. And I had company. Hello, Sadie. You're the the sky goddess. Top of the next page. I've brought you here with a request. You must make the magicians understand that a battle between the gods and the House of Life would only serve chaos. They won't listen to me. They think I'm a godling. You are a godling, dear. I'm Sadie Kane. I didn't ask for Isis to hitch a ride. Gods have known your family for generations, Sadie. In the olden days, we worked together for the benefit of Egypt, the triumph of civilizations, the forces of Ma'at overcoming the forces of chaos. The battle is fought generation after generation. Now it's your turn. I know, we have to defeat Set. Yes, it is a pity. I love all my children, but I fear my youngest son will go too far in his quest for power. There was a time when Set was one of us. In the old days, he protected the sun god's boat from the serpent Apophis. Apophis was the embodiment of chaos. He hated creation, the gods, the mortals, and everything they built. But it's Set I'm after. Any pointers? Next page. Seek out Thoth. He found a new home in Memphis. He can advise you. Be wary, though. Thoth often asks for favors, and he's sometimes hard to predict. As goddess of the sky, I can guarantee your safe air travel as far as Memphis. As you get closer to Set, you will be beyond my help, and I cannot protect you on the ground. Send my spirit back, then. Not yet. I have 5 children during the demon days. If your father released all of them, you should consider where is the 5th. You mean Nephthys, Set's wife? Lastly, a favor. If you see my husband Jeb, will you give him this? It's the least I can do. Now about sending me back. Godspeed, Sadie Kane. Sadie, you're awake. So we know that Nut is going to protect Sadie until she can get to Memphis to see Thoth. And he is going to help her defeat Set. Continue writing that down in box 4 and then complete your paragraph.